Good? Is everybody good? It's kind of dicey out there. Hope everybody's taking care of their mental health. Hoping everybody's taking care of their mental health, because it's getting a little dicey out there. Wow. Yo, what's going on, everybody? How's it hanging? Tip of the cap. I hope everybody is having a good day here on Earth in the Milky Way galaxy. Hope everybody is keeping it. Hope everybody's just keeping it on the straight and narrow. Hope everybody's doing all right. Let's try not to freak out. Not gonna do what everybody thinks I'm gonna do. Freak out, man. Oh man. All right. Do the best I can to do the best I can to lightly tickle your grundle, your fleshy fun zone, and perhaps give you a little bit of while the light Harrow planet burns to the ground. Okay. So I was like, who's coming with me? What's up, Kenny? What's going on, everybody? Hey, yeah, so well, first just a little bit of housekeeping. World is trash, Earth's on fire, everything's garbage. Joey chocolate chip, Joey waffle cone. Joe, hey, yo, Joe, you out there? Are you here, Joe? Yo, people getting clapped. Joe, you good? Joe, are you present here on Earth? Yo, Krusty, where you at, dog? Krusty, yo, Krusty, where you doing? How about the women and girls in Afghan? Yo, Crust, what are you doing? Women's rights. Here we go. Okay, great. Anyways, great. Anyhow, whatever. Okay, who cares? We're fighting for you until it's inconvenient. I'm on vacation. Here's my autoresponder. It's like, hey, we're gonna do something crazy, then bounce. You know what I mean? Like, just to get... Oh God, it's like you gotta laugh, otherwise you just melt into the earth like Frosty the Snowman on a hot summer day. I'm just saying. Yo, here, I'm a person I've dabbled in a little bit of business. I've done a couple of business. I've done my share of business, okay, on a small scale. All right. I had 4 employees. Thank you. You're welcome. Save the applause for after. I've had 4 employees. Yeah, you know what I mean? I'm impressed. Thank you. I know. Thank you so much. I'll take a bow after the show. And you know, in business, there's a couple things that I learned before I took a vacation. You know what I mean? Before I took a week off. Before I was like, I'm gonna go camping for a minute or whatever. Before you leave the office on a planned vacation, you kind of make sure your ducks are in a row. You know what I mean? You make sure the ducks are in the row. You don't do a complete software upgrade the day before you leave. So it's just hilarious that Joe and Krusty set up a bunch of kindling and dry newspapers and a bunch of gasoline cans, and they're like, when we get back, we're gonna start a fire. And then on the way out, Krusty lights a cig and just flicks it into the pile, and they're like, oh, email responder. It's like, yo, where are you guys? They're like, sorry, we're out for the week. It's like, bro, maybe wait till we've been there for 20 years. Maybe wait till your vacation's over before you pull out. It's they're like, put on an autoresponder. I'm gonna go to Martha's Vineyard and get the Obama variant. It's like, okay, I'm just saying, it's whatever. So who cares? But who cares? Let's just overlook that for a second. They're like, yeah, let's just light it on fire and head out. I'm gonna head out. I want to first start by saying that I'm currently wearing my Redcon 1 shirt today as a shout out to the Redcon 1 organization and Aaron Singerman. I want to give him and the organization props for standing up to Arnold Schwarzenegger, this literal clown shoe that basically said, screw your freedoms. It's like, hey, Arnold, no. as he chokes on like a pen 15 sized cigar at like a restaurant in Malibu. It's like, hey Arnold, maybe shut up. We don't care about your opinion anymore. Anyways, I know how to build bicep. I know how to build bicep. I trust the experts because I know how to build bicep. These are the experts. It's like, no, these are not mutually exclusive things. Like, your bicep never like killed anybody, but whatever. I know how to build a bicep. Yeah, we know, Arnold. We know about the bicep. Arnold, like, how's your illegitimate son doing in a basement for 3 decades? Hey, Arnold, how's your other son doing? I'm just saying, it's like, hey, Arnold, thanks for the lecture, but like, remember that son that you hid from the that you hid from your family for 30 years? Maybe shut the fudge up, dude. Hey, Arnold, what's your son up to? How's your family, Arnie? You know what I mean? It's like, take it easy, bro. I'm just saying. How's your son, though? But whatever. He's not my son. It's like, yeah, he is. But whatever. Whatever. It's not a personal attack. I'm just saying this guy's a chooch, but whatever. Screw your freedom. Where's your son, dude? Where? Donde está tu hermano? How do you say son? Donde está tu niño? Okay. Like, where's Maria? Like, what did you do there, Arnold? But whatever. I'm just saying, it's the guys, whatever. These are jokes at the comedy show, jokes on the live stream. Taking my bag. Sorry. Anyways, just to get a little more, on a more serious note, I wanted to keep it relatively succinct, to the point. Somebody on Facebook is like, can we see your dong? Donde está your dong? Hey, Danielle, take it easy, Jack. Calm it down. Lower the level. You're turning up the heat. It's in a probe. Okay, this is a family show. Anyways, so I just wanted to give like a little bit of a reminder, and also like a little thing for you guys to check out. So yesterday, when I was on the communism tube, aka an airplane flying home, I was watching this show on my Chinese rare earth mineral device through my Chinese factory made Apple Beats headphones, Dr. Dre headphones. Dr. Dre's daughter lives in her car. She's 40. It's like, get a job, but whatever. Only true heads will know what that joke means, but whatever, unless you're really paying attention, but I digress. And I watched this documentary called Hoaxed. I would highly suggest that any of you that are watching here today go and check out this documentary. It's called Hoaxed. It was directed by Mike Cernovich, and it's really, really awesome. And as a person that considers themselves to be like relatively woke to the multifaceted functions of the earth, as it were, it was a refreshing reminder about how intertwined and outlandish, to say the least, the information distribution points are on all points of the globe. And it was just yet another very interesting reminder of how much of a psychological manipulation is occurring at scale right now across the entire planet in the Milky Way galaxy right now. And everybody is getting lightheartedly clapped, distracted, psychologically and emotionally manipulated, all at the exact same time, burning the candle from both ends and torching it from the side simultaneously in a light Harrow furnace. But whatever. So I just want, like, I've been thinking all day, because I don't know, for some reason my voice is raspy, probably because I got the Spanish flu through the 15 minutes that I had to wear the diaper at the airport. When some guy walked up to me when I was waiting for my bag at 1:30 in the morning in a 500,000 square foot room with 75-foot ceilings, not even 50 yards from another person, as I waited for every single person to grab their suitcase, as I waited alone, not minding my own business, and some chooch walked up to me from 100 yards away, completely unprovoked, that had no reason to be talking to me at all. That was lightheartedly a guy that was pushing suitcases around and was like, yo, you got to put your diaper on in the building. And I was like, all right. And then I just stood there alone as I just was and waited for my bag, but whatever. And I was like, oh, are you Joe Biden? Then buzz off, Jack, but whatever. He's like, you're in the building. I'm like, dog, I couldn't hit the ceiling of this building with a freaking baseball, but okay. Like I would have had to I couldn't have swung and hit a baseball to the ceiling of this building, nor could I have like had a 10-foot long power slingshot and flung a freaking rock across this room. It's gigantic, like 50 million square feet of space. There's like 12 people in there. I'm waiting for my suitcase. It's 1:30 in the morning. I'm like, okay, thanks for the recommendation, Fauch. But whatever. I digress. Anyways, this is kind of the point. This is what I wanted to remember and remind everybody of as I watched this documentary from Mike Cernovich. It's called Hoaxed. Check it out. Hoaxed. I've been thinking about it all day, and I'm like, okay, yesterday I was like, keep your mental health together, all this other stuff, like, you know, whatever. I've been trying to pass along that message, talk about it, conversations, whatever. And I'm like, how do I add to this? What's the message that's missing? What's the reminder that this documentary gave me today that I can pass around, or that I can pass in this arguably very dark, difficult, and emotionally challenging time that a lot of people are in? Because myself, as a single, non-married, non-children having, self-employed person in the state of Florida in the US, if I feel like it's challenging, I can't imagine how challenging it is for somebody that's immunocompromised with multiple children, 2 full-time jobs, shouldering debt in a place like New Zealand. It's like the emotional toll that is happening on human lives right now is astronomical. So it's like, if I find myself overwhelmed by it, by simply paying attention and simply being a student of what I believe to be the truth, I can't imagine how heavy it is for people that are just like, you can't see your family member. And it's like, one thing that kind of blew me up is I saw something that was talking about a hospital that if your family member goes into this hospital, like they get in a car accident, for example, or they have some type of issue, or they get bitten by a snake or have a heart attack or whatever, and they have to go to this particular hospital, that they won't let you go into that hospital unless you got the juice to visit them. And I just found this extremely saddening and concerning. And essentially, it's like, you try to think to yourself, like, what would be the situation where you would ultimately like succumb to the juice? And all of these people, like all of us, the people that have been researching this, and I don't know if you don't necessarily have to be a person that's non-juice or whatever. People message me sometime, they're like, you hate the juice. And it's like, no, it's like, I'm just sharing my opinion and disposition to the world, the facts that are at hand, but I'm not telling anybody what to do. You make a decision for yourself, just like I wouldn't expect you to tell me what to do. I haven't told anybody to not take it. I've never said that you should do that. You make your own decision. And whether or not it's good to some degree or not, I don't know. It's very possible that it is. I mean, if hundreds of millions of people have taken it, maybe it's all right. Do I think that it's a little bit kind of like you're playing roulette, like you're playing Russian roulette? Yeah, kind of. But I don't know. I'm not a doctor, whatever. I've done my research. I made decisions for myself, whatever. People are like, you hate the juice. And it's like, no. So I was thinking about like, what would be the situation that would compel an otherwise reasonable person to like take the juice? And it's like, I could see that being one of those traps. For some people it's work, for some people it's their job, for some people it's seeing a loved one, for some people it's travel. Everybody has all these thresholds. So it's just like, they're really putting on the full court press to try to convince people to do this. So now somebody just said on the Facebook comments, my mom just found out she has lung cancer and needs surgery. The surgeon will only operate if she gets the juice. So it's like, there you go. So the onslaught of convincing and manipulation and or forcing is becoming more and more prevalent as the world goes around. And you see people like John Oliver, for example, who, let me remind you, is a complete and total non-American born, completely paid for, signs the back of a paycheck corporate shill for freaking AT&T. This guy's on here saying that it's your fault, goo. It's like, shut up, John. Like, shut up, John. This guy is like a total corporate bought and paid for shill. And if he didn't say what they wanted him to say, this guy wouldn't have a job in about a half a second. So so you can catch me in a dumpster somewhere before I start taking medical advice from John fucking Oliver. Fuck you, John. You're a fucking douchebag. Okay. The guy's a total corporate Democratic shill, and he toes the line all day, every day to collect his coins. Shut the hell up, John. We don't need your opinion. Anyways, so this is kind of what I wanted to remind everybody of. This is what I was looking at as I watched this thing, or this documentary. As a student of how the world works, as a student of how human beings behave, myself in my journey and life quest to be as free as possible, as aware as possible, and try to actualize my personal legend to the highest possible capacity, I've understood a couple things. I've understood that there is a purpose behind why most things occur. There's a reason, there's a source as to why most things happen, good, bad, or indifferent. In life, when challenging things happen to you, ultimately what they're doing is they're helping you build resistance towards some future thing that struggle helps you navigate through. Even the downs are lessons that help you through the ups. The challenges are all good things in the long run. That's what it is. But the point is that there's a cause, there's a reason, there's an effect, there's an outcome, and then there's what you do with it. So what I was thinking about now is now let's think about how things relate, how things are related when it relates to things like the economy. The reason why things happen, the reason why the world moves is because of money. Somebody said John Oliver is a dehydrated olive. That's pretty funny. The reason that the world moves and the reason that things happen in the economy and otherwise, the reason the lights are on, the reason the train keeps pumping down the tracks, never stopping, the reason the machine continues to operate is because of cash, is because of the financial flows that move through the economy that keep it afloat. It is like the lifeblood of the world. Now, I don't mean this from an altruistic standpoint. I don't mean this like this is why we're alive, because I think there's a lot of energy. I think there's a lot of why is there a Milky Way? How many galaxies are there? Are there aliens? How many things are going on? It's not an altruistic perspective. I'm just talking about what goes on above the crust of planet Earth. All right. I'm just talking about how human beings, flesh vehicles, compilations of cells, high energy or energetic vibrational flesh vehicles that are souls or whatever you want to call it, the essence of your whatever, this vehicle that's transporting your essence, your soul around, how these flesh vehicles, how these vibrational piles of cells and mass and energy, how they interact with each other on the crust of this blue flaming ball in the middle of nothingness, in the middle of why the hell are we here? How did we get here? What is this? I think that from the energetic, altruistic, the universe perspective, I think it's very fair to say that the ability to describe how the world functions and how life is, what life even is, the purpose of life, whatever, the most comparable explanation for what it is life is the Fibonacci sequence. Life is, it has no beginning, it has no end, it's only the now. We are the subjective versions of our own essence operating in this universe, our perspective of it, how we choose to navigate through it. Okay, so let's just put that out there. We don't know. Every single person that's ever been here, I don't care if you read it in a book, I don't care if it was in a text, a religious text, on a wall, in a hieroglyph, written in a stone, told to you by a shaman, you saw it in a dream, you saw it on a wall, you read it in a book, you saw it in a movie, you imagined it in your mind. Nobody knows what this is. I don't care what anybody says. You could draw a conclusion. Oh, it's God. It's Allah. It's Jesus. It's the ancient Sumerians. It's aliens. It's nothing. It's whoever. Say whatever you want. I'm not here to say that you're wrong. All I would ask is that you believe that maybe other people are right. And I think that things like quantum physics can teach us that two things can be in the place, two pieces of matter can be in the same place at the same time, but they only have a definite location until they're observed. I think that two things can be true at the same time. Could there be a God, and there be an Allah, and there be a whoever, and there be a Buddha, and there be an energetic force field, and there be all these things? I don't know, but the reality is that you don't know either. So I would encourage everybody that's so set in their ways and set in their thoughts, and they have this preconceived notion of what the world is, and it's full stop, this is what it is, I don't care, you're wrong, it's my job to teach you how to see the world like I see it. Maybe just understand that you have the right to see it how you see it, and everybody else can do what they want, and it doesn't mean that they're wrong because they don't see it like you. Okay, now with that being established, we don't know what this is. We don't know where we're going. We don't know how we got here. We don't know what the purpose is. Generally speaking, this seems to me like the objective is evolve, learn, be happy, grow, leave the world a better place, leave the universe a better place, get the most that you can from it, squeeze all the juice that you can, leave it a better place, be a good person, output as much good as you can, challenge yourself to the greatest version of yourself, work really hard, try to grow, try to improve, try to help others. That seems like that's what it is. Don't be bad, don't be evil, perpetuate goodness. Okay, great. So we've got that understood. That's what it is. Okay, purpose of life is to evolve. Purpose of life is to love. There's only two emotions, love and fear. That's all that it is. It's either fear or it's love. That's it. There's nothing else. Two, it's binary, black and white. It's yin and yang. It's the duality of life. That's how the world operates. In my view, do what you want. That's what I think it is. Okay, great. Now we understand that that's what it is. Great. We're all on the same page. Okay. Why do things happen? Why are you here right now? Why do you speak English? Why are you in the US? Or why are you free enough to have a technological device at this unique moment in time so that you can see this message right now? Why is that? Why is that? Because the universe, the energy field, the force field, the whatever you want to call it, is putting you in this position because it believes that you have a unique set of tools, set of understanding, set of difficulties, and set of skills that will allow you to help move the whatever forward and help it evolve, learn, grow, and be better. That's the whole point. It's evolving. That's the point. Its purpose is to evolve. You are one piece in a very large, very gigantic, very complicated machine, clock, whatever. Clock is probably the most comparable, and we're all just grinding together. You make one bolt out of place. You take one wheel and stop it from working. The clock destroys itself. We are all part of this moving, crunching progression through time. Our objective, our purpose is to do the best that we can to help the machine run more smoothly. Okay, now, let's assume that we all universally agree that this is the case. Why is this happening right now? What's going on? If you like what I'm saying, hit me with a like on here. Somebody drop me some comments. People, light me up. Drop some comments. Tell me if you like where I'm going with this. I'm doing the best I can. Hit me with some comments. Send me some hearts or something. Let me know that you like the path that I'm traveling down right now, because I think I'm onto something. Okay. The reason that everything is happening right now is primarily in the interest of forward flowing as quickly as possible the distribution of cash to people that want to grab as much of it as possible. The reason that everything is happening is based on and rooted in the ability for money to flow in the direction of that thing. When you think about your inputs of information, when you think about how you are digesting the world around you, you get your information through a variety of different information sources, through a variety of different information funnels. Media, specifically audio and video combined, audio, visual, video combined, is the most significant and impactful form of influential information distribution that exists. The vast majority of every piece of information that you will receive throughout your entire life will be funneled through a very limited and very narrow chain of a very small amount of information distribution hubs that pass all of the intel, all of the life perspective, what to think about, what to buy, where to go, who you are, what it looks like, how it's supposed to be, gets funneled down and homogenized into a very small distribution channel owned by a very small cohort of very powerful people that all know each other. that are all in the same self-interest, that are all collectively guided towards the interest of each other. If there's a way for two competitors to not compete with each other, but instead be beneficial to each other and both make money simultaneously, everybody wins. Think about it like this. In the physical, in the let's call it Americana bodybuilding supplement fitness universe. There's all these brands, supplement brands, clothing brands, pro Americana, pro bodybuilder, pro fitness, pro health, pro independence, right? And all of these people, as I see and I go to these different events, they all have the same interests. They all collaborate. They all grow together as the industry gets bigger, as more people understand how to take care of their health, how to buy more protein, how to be more physically fit, how to be more reverent for America and whatever it else is. These people and these companies all compete with each other while also simultaneously growing the bubble sphere of influence and monetary power of this entity. Because if they're not doing this, then they may be doing something else. They could be at a Lego convention. They could be at a video game convention or whatever else. The mainstream media is benefiting massively as a result of all these things that are happening. What's going on overseas right now, and I'm going to try not to even use the word, you know what I'm talking about. Who benefits from this? Who has the financial upside from all of this? The military industrial complex, all the defense contractors, all the companies that are making money off of guns, weapons, AMRAPs, Humvees, Boeing, planes, equipment, night vision goggles, all of the different equipment that's being left to all of these people, all the different technology that's being developed to defend from all these people, all these different things, building bases, building missile defense systems, building weaponry, bullets, protection, armor, all of this stuff, and devices that track heat and the variety of others. Who wins from all this fear? The military industrial complex, your Boeings, your Northrop Grummans, all of these other major companies benefit massively as a result of this. Who invests in all these companies? Who financially backs all these companies? Your BlackRocks, your major private equity companies, your banks, your banksters, right? All of these people are all mutually interested in the propagation of fear because it generates sales, destruction, murder, war, suffering. It all cashes down to the checking account. They buy advertisement. They own all of the companies that propagate all of the news. They own the AT&Ts. They own the HBOs. They own the movies. They own the TV shows. They own the radio stations. They own the distribution points. They have investments in all the big tech. They have investments in the companies that let you find the information, that help distribute the information. They're all simultaneously benefited as a result of fear, control, power, war, destruction, human suffering, nation destruction, nation building, and everybody being at odds with each other. A peaceful, self-sustaining, calm world of people who help each other is not financially beneficial to the top line of these types of corporations. They only know fear. They only know evil. They only know how to win as a result of creating destruction, because their souls and I'm not gonna, like I said, I'm not gonna try to. I don't want to make this like an altruistic, like, oh, it's like demonic. That's not what I'm trying to say. I'm just saying, like, when your soul is compromised, when you don't care about others to that degree, the only thing you know is the negative. The only thing that you know is fire. The only thing that you know is destruction. You know how to move that through. You know how to manipulate and cash off of that. You create offspring. You pass that message down. It's all about that money. I want to sell more bullets, sell more planes, sell more guns, sell more missiles. I don't care who gets lost in the wake. We got to defend each other. And now, at the end of it, I do believe that there's probably a lot of people that fall in line with this, that don't really think what they're doing is evil, that think what they're doing is creating safety and and like fighting militants and whatever else. But like, and that's up for all of us to understand. And that's the yin and yang of life. That's the up and down. That's the black and white of it. We don't know. But it would be really nice if more people understood that the mainstream media companies benefit off of all of these wars. They benefit off of the camera of a rocket getting sent off. They benefit off of us watching and saying, what's happening right now overseas in this country, this country, this country. They have a financial incentive to create more chaos around these things. Even if it wasn't bad, they'd make it bad. Even if it wasn't evil, they'd find a way to distribute the evil. They'd find a way to ask the right questions, use the right words, create the right fear, distribute the right fear, and create a problem where there maybe wasn't one. They'd use their inroads to the halls of power to manipulate them to act a certain type of way by showing them a certain type of media, showing them a certain type of video, getting their ear for a certain type of understanding. That everybody is emotionally, every single person is psychologically and emotionally manipulating one another to forward and advance their own interests. Whether they be positive and altruistic is up for debate. But the reality of it is that every single person is trying to psychologically and emotionally manipulate other people to getting them to do what they want. If you are trying to get a person to buy your product, you're trying to use their emotion and use their psychology and weaponize that against them so that they purchase what you have. You may think that it's good because they're buying something that helps their business, but at the end of the day, you're trying to use the emotional weapon. You're trying to use your salesmanship to convince that person, people, the world, just people, to do something. It could be trying to convince a girl to go on a date with you. It could be trying to convince a guy to go on a date with you. It could be trying to convince a girl to go out to coffee with you, or a guy to go out to coffee with you, or a Z or a there, or a Z or a zer, or whatever, to do something with you, to be attracted to you. It could be to get a new business partner. It could be to make a new friend. It could be to build up a relationship that you don't have. It could be to establish a deeper relationship at the gym, or at your business, or at your office, or at your church, or at your whatever. Everybody is always on this psychological game because that's the game. That's how it works. It's like we didn't choose the game. That's just what the game is. So at the highest levels, these things operate in the exact same way. And what's happening is they're just trying to figure out a way to monetize what's happening, cause more fear, cause more warfare. And the people that are at the very top, that move the money around, that are kind of like country agnostic, where they could have residences in multiple countries. They could have homes, money, bank accounts in every country in the world because they have so much power and influence. Relationships, nation building influences, and all these other places. They can manipulate the way that the world moves. There comes a point where everybody needs to be excited and to think that if you have all the money in the world and all the power in the world and all the everything in the world, what do you want more of? Money and power. Those are the things that are like unlimited. You could always be the richest person in the world. You could always be the most powerful person in the world. It's like there is no measure. It's not like you hit $100 billion and you just retire. Think about people like Bill Fences, and think about people like Warren Buffett, and think about all these people. Warren Buffett goes to work every day to make more money. The guy's got enough money, more money than he could ever spend his entire life. Why does he go make more money? I'm not saying it's because of power. I'm just saying that it's always about this constant need to expand and grow. Everybody just has it. So if you were to be in a family, for example, where your grandparents, all the way up the line, 10 rows of people never had to work a day in their life, what do you think that you're doing with your time? How are you feeding your need to expand? It's through power, it's through influence, it's through your ability to exert your will on the world around you. So what does this mean? What it means is that the greatest threat to these types of people and these types of ideologies running the world indefinitely, forever, in perpetuity, and being essentially impenetrable without some other major act of whatever. The greatest threat is independent, thoughtful people, people that really care about each other, themselves, sovereignty, freedom, and I guess you could say like the universe, doing the right thing, whatever. So, with that being said, I think that as everybody gets mad at each other for diapers, these people are stupid, screw your freedom, you're bad, you're evil, you don't understand, fight with your neighbor, this group is bad, this group is good, red, blue. While all this distraction is happening, the top level items, the 5% of what happens that really moves the needle, all that stuff is advancing with no question. Like when you think about like in business and in life, there's what's called the Pareto principle, also known as the 80-20 rule, which means that 20% of your efforts create 80% of your results. And 20% of that 20% creates 80% of those results. The point is that you could have one client that will make up the vast majority of the income for your business. 20% of your clothes you wear 80% of the time. 20% of your shoes you wear 80% of the time. 20% of the restaurants you go to 80% of the time. 20% of your friends you hang out with 80% of the time. 20% of the people you talk to 80% of the time. 20% of the hats you wear 80% of the time. 20% of the things that you do in your business make you 80% of the return. 20% of your clients make you 80% of your return. 20% of your actions make you 80% of your results. So it's like, if they can distract us with the 80, if they can distract us with even more than the 80, 94% of it, it's that 4% that is the lion's share of all the stuff. And it doesn't matter if they lose in between. In business, specifically larger businesses like a grocery store, there's a thing called a loss leader. A loss leader is the thing that convinces somebody to come into the store so that they buy all the other stuff. They put that at the back of the grocery store. That's your milk, that's your cheese, that's your eggs, that's the things that you're always going to buy. It's in the back of the store. All the things that are not loss leaders, all the expensive items, all of those are towards the front where the margin is the greatest. They get you in on the loss leader and then they get you to buy all the rest. If they can figure out what is the loss leader emotionally manipulation wise, what is the loss leader of media distribution? How do they get you in the door so that they can pop you for a candy bar that costs them 4 cents that they sell for you for $2? It doesn't matter that they lose a penny on the milk. It doesn't matter that they lose $1 or $1 on the eggs or $1 on the milk or $1 on the cheese, because they just gassed you on all of the other things that you buy. It's called a loss leader. So it's like, what is the loss leader in the media, in the business of media? What is the loss leader in the business of influence? What is the loss leader in the business of power? What's the carrot that you dangle to convince them that they got something when the reality is that you just uprooted their entire garden and took every carrot that they're going to be able to eat for the next 5 years, but they got a carrot from you for free. That's happening in the left-right paradigm. That's happening in the U.S. political system. That's happening in the fact that the entire world is operated by a very small cohort of financiers that run the entire planet. It is highly likely that there are 150 men that run the entire world, that are at the highest level of international banking, media distribution, food, water, and resources. And if you could control the food, the water, the medicine, the finite resources, the gold, and the money, everything else is irrelevant. It doesn't matter what happens. It doesn't matter that you have a business selling hamburgers, and if you have 50 restaurants and you make $500 million a year, that doesn't matter, because who owns the restaurants? The bank. Who owns the bank accounts where you store the money that you transact at all those restaurants? The bank. Who owns the bank? Who are the primary shareholders of the banks? What do they do with the money that they've convinced the government to allow them to loan out 10 times to $1? Who's holding all the cash? And then they're loaning out cash and putting it in a bank account. The cash doesn't even move. The cash doesn't even have to exist. And then they have a press that they can print the money out of thin air. They can artificially fill up all the people that rotate in and out of these systems with people that they appoint by using the money and the influence of the cash that they don't even have to have because of the fractional reserve banking system. You take the United States, the reserve currency of the entire world, off of the gold standard 50 years ago. It allows for endless manipulation of the one lifeblood that the entire planet operates on. USD. USD. So it's like, if you look beyond the 97% of shit that does not matter, you realize that the 3%, the lifeblood of the entire planet, is in the interwoven and interconnected nature of the global banking cartel. That is the lifeblood, the sphere of influence that controls how the entire world operates. Somebody just said, you're sounding pretty pro-crypto right now. No, I'm not sounding pro-crypto, because they could clap that straight out of your bank account before you could even blink. You just think that you're having power. That's the carrot that they give you. It's a non-connected, interwoven. They can't print it. It was created by a fictitious man in the sky. Satoshi Yaka, your money's not worth anything anymore. That's an illusion. You don't think that these people understand how to manipulate? They're just going to let you foil their grand plan by letting you create a fictitious magical string of coins out of the sky that you have to redeem into what? USD or some other fiat, nothing backed, infinitely expandable, infinitely manipulatable currency of which they own all of which they have the ability to expand and contract at will. At any time when they see a threat to their ability to control the operation, they can boop, drop a conflict, boop, drop a bomb, boop, drop a sickness, boop, drop a person, boop, drop an influence. And there goes all of your grand plans. This is a game. This is a game. What is life? What is the meaning? What's the end result? I don't know. I don't know any more than you know. But what I'm saying is that there is a grand deception. There's a grand psychological manipulation going on at scale that the vast majority of people are completely blind to. And as a result of this complete and total head in the sand blindness, what about the flu? What about the test? We're going to lock 10 million, we're going to lock 5 million people in a prison state in New Zealand because one test was positive. We're going to lock 5 million human beings in their home like prisoners because of one case from one test. Who made the test? Who validated the case? One person, 5 million people, one person probably slipped off of their bed, slipped in their shower, and died. Did you make showers illegal? Whatever. And then people are like, you can't drive drunk. It affects other people. Yeah, I get it. But that's because the interwoven connection, the interwoven psychological manipulation took that into account, took into account your empathy, took into account your emotion, took into account your ability to see the world from the perspective of good. They understand that the most of the world are good. They understand that most of the people in the world want to save and help each other. They understand that. Which is why it's the perfect ruse. It's the perfect game. It's the perfect manipulation. It's indefensible. Don't you like Black lives? Don't you think that Black lives matter? Don't you think that don't you want to save grandma? It's emotional manipulation. Because they knew that the vast majority of people would not be able to see beyond the game. Because the vast majority of people don't even have a fucking clue what makes the dollar in their pocket worth anything. Yet they will dedicate their body, their life, their time, their freedom, their health, their family, every single thing they ever did, they ever knew, their whole life to work to put a piece of paper in their pocket of which they do not know its origins, do not know what makes it valuable, do not know that it can be manipulated or melted right away, and do not even understand the intricate nature of how it works, where it comes from, where it goes, and how poof nothingness it could become at a moment's notice. They don't even see past that. There are people out there that will work their entire life to generate a pile of cash, and then they will look to a financial advisor to tell them how to invest it. And they will completely trust this person after they just worked their whole life to accumulate this thing that they say that they don't have the capacity to understand because they leave it up to the experts. And that is why the emotional manipulation and the game is such a trap, because people do not even take the time to understand how the world really operates. They don't even take the time to understand the severity of the game that they're playing. And since they know that you won't do that, you become extremely vulnerable. Whoa. Sorry. And through that vulnerability, I'm trying to turn this fan on because I'm heating up, Jack. What the frick? Who is the international banking cartel controlling my tripod right now? Because it's clapping my cheeks. All right. Come on, bro. Like, let me live my life. So what I'm trying to say is I'm trying to like cool my brain off here, so before I have a heart attack, is like, okay, it's like my brother said something to me a long time ago that I will never forget, that I think about often. He said, the things we can see are the least real. I think about that all the time. The things we can see are the least real. There is a very intricate game happening right now. And to me, the true heroic act, the altruistic and heroic move that your everyday person can do is share the truth and the cause of liberty, and share the information necessary for people to see beyond the manipulation so that they can understand how to reverse engineer the game so that they can play it, protect themselves and the people around them. Because at the end of the day, I don't know that everybody can be saved. I don't know that the duality of life makes space for there to not be a bottom, a negative. Can there be no poor people in the world? I don't know. I would almost say that it's possible that there can't. I think that reality and our understanding of it is very much like the Fibonacci sequence. I would have, if anybody does not know what that is, I would highly suggest you look it up. Fibonacci sequence, of course, from an Italian. It's so great to understand that. I'm going to read what it says. See if I can get a good definition. It basically is these descriptions are so cool. It's basically like the natural mathematics of like the universe. Let me see if I can get a cool. Each number is the sum of the two preceding ones. That's probably the simplest one. Each number is the sum of the two preceding numbers. It's like an endless spiral that never ends. It's like a mathematical sequence of which it never ends. It follows the so-called golden ratio. It says it can be found in all types of nature. Daisies, rose hips, lilies, a variety of different things. The point is that I think that it's fair to say that the only way for us to successfully navigate this game is for us to understand what we're up against, for us to understand who the enemy is, whatever you want to call it, the enemy, whatever, the adversary, the competitor. I think that nothing is what it seems. I think that we have to question everything. And I think that the cause of liberty and an altruistic life purpose can be found in the spreading of the truth and the educating of others, and hopefully helping people to understand at the very least that the game exists, who's playing it, and how we can succeed inside of it. Because the easiest defense, the easiest focal point for how to be a positive for humanity, in my opinion, is an imperfect decision in an imperfect world, but the best that there is and best that there ever was. And that is America. The United States of America is the greatest cause of peace, liberty, and freedom to ever exist in the history of the world. And at the very least, despite its foibles and issues, the United States is the greatest and most centralized representation of fighting back against the evils of the world. And our reverence and understanding that something as simple as a flag is a symbolic representation of the significance and allegiance towards that altruistic necessity in the world. And that if we could all quite simply start there and rally around it, that would be the great beginning of, I think, reversing the tide towards a more free and prosperous future. Now, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. It's an old saying. So it's like, to me, that is a logical, digestible, and bite-sized starting point for how the world becomes a better place. If we can't figure out how to convince people that America is good, America is liberty, America is freedom, and freedom is the solution to all the world's problems, if we can't convince people of that, we can't convince that people of anything. So we have to start there. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. That's specious, okay? It's like, so do I have all the solutions? Of course not. The truth is that nobody does. Not Joe, not Krusty, not Donnie Ballpark, not even Roberto Sasalito has the answers. The real answers, I'll go back. I'll go back again. I'll go back again to the wise words of my brother. He said one time to me that all the happiness you ever need is inside yourself. All the happiness you need is inside yourself. So it's like, that doesn't mean don't have friends. That doesn't mean don't have family. That doesn't mean don't love your country. That doesn't mean anything else. What it means is that your body is just a vehicle transporting your soul. What it is, what this game is, what's the meaning of life, where does it go, whom or what is guiding us is indeterminate and uncertain by all, which is the magic of the game. Is it God? Perhaps. Is it Jesus? Perhaps. Is it some other figure? Is it some other arrangement of individual letters made by human beings in an individual language that's been translated hundreds of times? Is it the old book? Is it the new book? Is it this book? Is it that book? Is it this story? Is it that story? We don't know. And just because you think you know, and just because you want to know, and just because you believe that it's a hard stop, this is what it is, doesn't mean you're right. You might be, but it doesn't mean that you are. And it also doesn't mean that other people are wrong. This whole like, I'm right, you're wrong game goes against nature, goes against quantum physics. It's like two things can be true at the same time. I can see lightning strike right now, and somebody else can see it strike at a different time if they're 1 mile away. You are both right based on your perspective of how you view that happening. I saw it. I saw the lightning strike at 101. You saw the lightning strike at 101.2. We're both right. That's when the light traveled from the point to your eyes. Two things are correct at the same time. It's not that I'm right and you're wrong. It's just my perspective on what we see is different. Two things can be right at the same time. So, with that being said, if we were more interested in propelling forward the cause of people promoting liberty, happiness, freedom, and whatever this is, this understanding of reality in all its forms, in whatever way that it presents itself, if we could all just be a little bit more focused on building that up versus destroying methodologies that we believe are counterproductive to our perspective of the world, it'd be better. The left-right paradigm, the look at these libs, the look at this, that is not even the game. And it's like, I'm just as mad about Joey Waffle Cone as the next guy. Okay? I'm just as mad about Krusty as the next guy. Krusty is a temporarily appointed talking head human manipulatable by cash, power, influence, resources, and connections by the people that really run the game. And here's a news flash. They don't get elected. Okay? They're not getting elected, dude. Okay? Joe will be gone in 3 years. Krusty will hopefully be gone in 3 years. And then some other chooch, some manipulatable, emotionally driven, emotionally manipulatable, financially beholden, talking blah, will be appointed to distract you from the people that do not get elected. You're out here reading the Forbes 100 richest people in the world, and you think that's the 100 richest people in the world. Sorry, it's not. That's the game. They know that you and the vast majority of people don't have the capacity to look beyond that. And that's why they're like, yeah, here's the richest people in the world. Here's the president. Here's the leader of the free world. You can make things happen without making things happen, okay? You can make things happen without making things happen. You can think about it. What is the blood, okay? I don't need to shoot somebody in the head to kill them if I can figure out a way to stop the blood flow to their brain. I don't need to shoot you in the head to kill you if I can figure out how to stop the blood flow to your heart. You know? I don't need to trap you in a prison cell to restrict your ability to move. I don't need to shut you up to shut you up. I don't need to put duct tape over your mouth to silence you. You know? The smart people don't play it like that. They silence you with your mouth open. They hide you in plain sight. They destroy you financially, in the emotional and psychological mind games of the people of the world that are vulnerable to this manipulation because they don't see it. They know how to destroy you. They know how to destroy you without destroying you. They know how to ruin a country without going there. In the mob, the boss of a mob, an organized crime ring, never touches a gun, never touches a drug, never robs a bank, never robs a truck. In a lot of cases, they never even speak. They don't even have to speak. There are henchmen for that rotate in based on their allegiance, their willingness to work to rise to power, their willingness to take and absorb influence. They understand that they're a cog in the wheel, and they also understand that the dude at the top will cycle through because nobody lives forever. Who will have that position? It could be their son, their cousin, their brother, somebody who gets appointed or somebody who gets anointed into those positions. Family trees, families that have marriages to one another. Imagine powerful family A, powerful family B, powerful family C, and powerful family D. You have children of similar ages. How do you get those children to fall in love with each other, marry each other? You develop friendships. You put them in the same place. You put them in the same schools. You give them the same car. You teach them the same things. You create environments that allow them to have similar interests. So when they come together, it seems like this serendipitous moment. How could this person of power fall in love with this person of power? You don't have to make it happen to make it happen. And I'm not trying to draw the conclusions, but it's like, think about how people understand how 1 + 1 = 3 if your interests are aligned and if you have comparable skill sets, if you have comparable connections. You don't think that Jared Kushner and Ivanka Trump understood the long-term value of their union? I'm not saying that they didn't fall in love. I'm just saying Ivanka Trump is the daughter and heir to a real estate empire from a real estate family that made real estate decisions and successful brands in New York. Jared Kushner is the son of a real estate family that does real estate transactions, that owns real estate in New York. They move in the same circles. Their family's interests are aligned. They look at each other and they see, look, maybe her dad will be the president one day. Look, maybe this guy will own hundreds of thousands of properties one day. Look at these benefits. We also can fall in love. You don't have to make it happen to make it happen. Now, I'm not this is not a moratorium on them or some analysis of like Donnie put them in the same school so they'd fall in love. I'm just saying people and human behavior is well documented in psychology books across the planet for thousands of years. Understanding how human beings behave is a very calculated, observed, and monitored science. In relationships and in the way that we react to what someone else says or someone else does, or the way your partner or your potential partner or your previous partner or your future partner or whatever acts, are all in the book. Their dad did this. Their mom did this. They had these interpersonal relationships. They had this financial backing. They were around these types of people when they were growing up. They had these good things happen to them. They had these bad things happen to them. All of these things are this interwoven psychological nature. Anybody that really wanted to understand the game would only need to understand how to do two things: how to be borderless, financially beholden to no one, in the upper echelon of power and influence, and how to understand the complicated nature of how human beings behave. If you could understand these two principles, you could control the entire world. You don't need to know how to change oil. You don't need to know how to hang a picture. You don't need to know how to cut wood, how to build a house, how to build a car. You don't need to know physics, biology, science, chemistry, health, nothing. You don't need to know any of that. All you need to understand is, how do I control and regulate the blood flow? And how do I understand how to manipulate and psychologically influence the people around me to do all the things that I'm not able to do? If you could just understand those two principles, you would be independently valuable forever. You don't need to know how to do anything but those two things. Understand how to flow the blood, money, and understand the behavior of people. That's it. Because if you understand their behavior, you could get more money. If you could get more money, you could influence the behavior that you don't know how to manipulate and control. They're just going to keep interchanging. They're going to keep cycling through. They're going to Fibonacci sequence into one another in perpetuity forever. If you could figure out how to understand those things, you could understand everything. The rest of the stuff is inconsequential. 20% of your effort creates 80% of your results. 20% of the 20% creates 80% of the bottom 20%. All you need to know how to do is do this very narrow single thing with extreme depth, and you have the whole game unlocked. And they know that. So they're like, Kardashians, Masked Singer, Johnny Depp, movie, TV, Lamborghini, guy falling off a plane. Look at these people. Hate on Joe. Hate on the dehydrated owl. Krusty has a bad laugh. Don't pay attention to the money in your bank. Don't pay attention to the money. Don't pay attention to the blood flow to your brain. They're over here cutting. They're over here pinching your finger, and you're like, yo, don't pinch that. Meanwhile, they got a clamp on the one blood vessel, on the one blood flow that will kill you. You could shoot somebody one place in the leg and they will die. It's like you could hit one spot, boop, that's it. They don't need to put you in a wood chipper. All they got to figure out is, where's the artery? Hit the artery. I'm not saying that here's how you take somebody out. I'm just saying, it's like, if we could only understand that the laser focus on understanding where the artery is and the consequence of pinching it is more significant than knowing any of the rest of this stuff. It's all nothing. It's all inconsequential. The only thing that matters is the blood. You could cut off an arm, another arm, a leg, a torso, an ear, a nose. You could burn someone's face. You could do all these things and the body could stay alive. That's the thing. They're just like, yeah. You deal with the fingers and the toes and the phalanges and the leg and the knee. That stuff doesn't matter. All that matters is blood flow from here to blood flow up here, and that's it. Without those two things, the game's over. So everybody else is out here focused on the skin and the fingers and the wrists and the legs and the knees and the toes and the ears and the inconsequential extremities, when the only thing that matters is the blood flow to the main vein. That's it. World works in the same way. Nature is a reflection of life, and life is a reflection of nature. It's the same thing. All of the same things in life that you see around you are all just some reflection and interpretation of how something naturally functions in nature. They saw that water flowed from the top of the mountain to the bottom of the mountain. Why? Gravity. Look at how water flows in your own house. Pressure. Every single thing that happens in nature. That's how we learned how to fix it in our manufactured world. If we could look at the complicated, regenerative, and even to this day, untold wonders of even just the human body, we would have a better understanding of how the world operated outside of it. We don't even know what's under the ocean on our own planet. There are large spaces of the earth that have never been visited. There are large spaces under the sea that have never been seen and never explored. We don't even know what we're on. And you're going to sit out here and tell me that you understand the intricate natures of how the universe works because someone else told you, because you saw it in this movie, book, podcast, audio, story, tale, lesson, allegory, poem, painting, whatever. I don't know. Maybe that's a perspective that you're drawing your understanding of what all this is. And what I'm saying is that you may be right, and so may I, and so may every other person. If we could understand that all of these people are just people, and that generally speaking, our interests are aligned for the vast majority of people. And then if we could just understand that there are people conversely that are the yin to the yang, that are the other side, the black to the white. White is the absence of color. Black is all colors. The yin and yang of life, the duality, all of the good, all of the bad. There are people that do not have your best interest in mind. If we could understand the game that we're playing, if we could understand how to focus less on the fingers and more on the blood flow, we would have a better understanding of how this operation runs. The reason that more of the ocean's floors are not inspected and not researched is because it doesn't seem consequential to the survival and evolution of mankind. Otherwise, they would be. Your body does a lot of things where you burn it, you cut it, you slice it, it regenerates itself. You cut your finger off, it doesn't, but a lot of parts of your body do really, really amazing things. A lot of things that even to this day we don't understand. What's the cause to cancer? How does cancer happen? It's like cancer is like our cells live and die every day, but sometimes they stop dying. I mean, what? It's like there's little microscopic organisms that are on your body eating algae off your eyeballs right now. That's dope. It's this multifaceted Fibonacci sequence, this big flow that we don't even know. And we're going to sit here and be like, oh, it's like, oh, there's this super complicated vehicle that we're sitting in right now on a planet that we don't understand, that we don't even know how we got here, with this interwoven human history that is written by the people that won, that we don't even know that it's true, that when we finally get to a point where we can understand what it actually means, we have to navigate children and our health and our parents and our job and protecting ourselves and whatever's around us. And then on top of all of that, on top of all of this complicated nature, your mental health, your physical health, your financial health, your ability to move through the world, your credit score, your bank account, where you live in the world, the temperature that it is, whether or not your house is going to burn down tomorrow, whether or not somebody's going to come in your house and pop you and take you out of this game. Aside from all that, on top of that additional layer of this otherwise really complicated game, you're going to say that with all this complication and all this interwoven nature of the entire sum of humanity, reality, and everything that you ever have come to know through the history of time, that at the end of all that, the leader of the fucking free world is Joe Biden? What are you out of your fucking mind? It's like newsflash. It's not, Jack. It's a bunch of people that don't get elected, that hide in the shadows, that hide in plain sight, that you don't even know are running the game, that are not elected, that make the decisions about the water, the food, the resources, and the cash flows, the blood flows around the entire planet all the time in perpetuity, forever. They pass that power down through an anointing and an appointing process that goes from grandfather to father to son to son to son to son to daughter or whatever, down a very long lineage of people of which they protect all of their interests in different bank accounts around the planet forever in assets, in gold, in minerals, in land, in property, in the basic fundamentals and building blocks of human life, in the knowledge, in the understanding. What's under the Vatican? What's in those books, dog? We don't even know. And we're going to sit out here and be like, oh yeah, Joe fucked up in Afghanistan. It's like, yeah, bro, but don't you understand that that shit's by design? Who wins? Who wins from that? You know whose stock went up? Northrop Grumman, Moderna, Pfizer, all of those companies are all getting guap. Getting that guap. But we're like, Joe. It's like, but yeah, it's like, Joe, what a distraction. They got the game on lock, and we're all just like, oh, squirrel. So, I don't know. So it's like, with that being said, what's the message? What's the point? What am I even talking about? What's the like? What do you leave here with? What's the value? The message is nothing is what it seems. The message is question everything. The message is all the happiness you need is within yourself. The messaging is the things we can see are the least real. The messaging is the purpose of life is to evolve and grow. The messaging is there's only two emotions, fear and love. The messaging is you are in control of your destiny. The messaging is the purpose to grow, the need and the cause to expand and grow is the reason that you're here. The earth is expanding. Humanity is expanding. The money supply is expanding. Everything is expanding all of the time. It is highly possible that there was no beginning and that there is no end. Hard to fathom because we don't even know what the word beginning means in the context of this, because a word is just a word. A word is just a human construct. A word is just an assembly of letters. It's essentially just a sound. When you really break it down, it's just a vibration. It's just womp. It's just a vibration that has a significance to you that reminds you of something else. It's a point of reference. It's like, what is orange? What is blue? It's just a point of reference for you to understand in context of everything else that you see. But when the world is fluid and we do not know, what does that mean when I say there is no beginning, there is no end, and all we have is the now? It means it's up for your interpretation. It means it's up for you to understand what this game is. It means that nobody knows. The only thing that you can trust is your instinct. The only thing that you can trust is your intuition. The only thing that you can trust is yourself and your ability to navigate the intricate challenges that come along with being a human right now at this moment in time, and seeing what you can do to navigate it and leave the world a better place, and hopefully share a little bit of knowledge and a little bit of love and a little bit of enjoyment along the way. So as the world comes down on you, as you look at everything, as you look at everything around you and go, wow, this is bad, and this is, understand that the game is won and lost up here. The end game is here. They can't get in there. The only thing that you can do is try to figure out how to be as happy, prosperous, and caring and enjoying of your life as you possibly can. Because a lot of these things have been happening well before we got here, and unfortunately will be happening well into the future. Good and evil exist and will likely exist in perpetuity forever. The yin and yang of life, the duality of existence has to be there in order to propel the world forward. There has to be it. There is no utopia, because there will always be some threat in order to advance, in order to create the environment in which growth is needed. So when we understand that all the evils of the world don't have to be eradicated, what we have to figure out how to do is how to surround ourselves with as much good as possible, how to create more of that good around us and around the people that we care about, and try to propel forward as best as we can in whatever limited amount of time that we may have in this particular iteration of whatever your soul is doing right now in order to learn. There is really nothing else to do other than that. Don't let the world run you. Don't let the weight of it destroy you. Don't let them get your emotions. Don't let them manipulate the way that you think about your own life. Hold on. What will be the most significant about your existence in this current iteration of whatever this is will be the impact of good that you leave for future versions of yourself or other versions of yourself to enjoy. Because let it be known that with certainty, many great people have done that before us. Many great people have decided that a positive output is the best thing that they can do for the world. So, again, it's not doom and gloom. It's not all bad. The world is not going to end. This is an emotional manipulation. A lot of the heaviness that we feel is based on the information that we allow in. And just because we don't pay attention to it temporarily doesn't mean it's not happening, doesn't mean we're putting our head in the sand. It means we're figuring out how to fortify our fortress, how to fortify our existence, our body, our game, so that we can succeed to the best of our abilities in this experience. That's what we got to do. We can't allow it to get crazy. So, as these things weigh heavy on you, just understand that your energy level, your disposition to the world at large, your reaction to what you see, hear, and happens to you will have more influence on what happens next than chance. Your disposition to each situation, your reaction and execution once it occurs will determine more of what your place in the world looks like for the rest of your life. More so than any international banking chooch, more than any one of these power-hungry psychos, more than any of these people that want to destroy the world. They understand that power is the thing that they want. And when they get it, they don't even realize that that's not even what they want. They want money. They get all this money. There's plenty of rich people that are depressed. There's plenty of rich people that have $500 million that would trade everything, every dollar they got to be as happy as you are with $100,000, with $1,000. Money is not the metric. Money is not the calculation of success in the world. Money is not the game. It's not the only game, but it's one of them. So just keep that in mind when everything is heavy and everything is on us and everything is making you feel like, the world is trash. Just understand that your attitude is a reflection of your state of mind. And your state of mind will determine more about the happenings that are to precede this moment than anything else, in my opinion. The influence of them will be far more significant. So I hope this was valuable. I went a little longer than I thought. I want to thank Steve for the generous Venmo donation. Thank you so much, Steve. I appreciate you. If you're still on here, thank you so much. Thank you so much for the generous donation. I really appreciate that. I want to thank everybody that got the badges on here. On Instagram, Queen Maya Q, thank you so much. Stephanie IE, Magic Please, Xander Crypto, CSIEE Bert, Vegas Nerve, Dawn Maureen, Jen Lisa 80, Jillian Kelly 3, Lana Liberty 1, W Monaco, Dallas Weaver 8899, Lori S216, Holly Elizabeth 85, and Britt C Wolf. Thank you guys so much for the badges on Instagram. I very much appreciate it. Thank you to the people that have joined the Patreon. I really appreciate it. It's patreon.com/takenaps. I appreciate everybody that has joined up on there. Thank you so much for those support. I really appreciate it. And thank you to Redcon1, and thank you to Aaron Singerman for his move that he made yesterday or in the last couple of days as it relates to Arnold. Thanks to all the people that are standing up to all of this garbage. Thanks to all the people that, whether you have one person on your account or 1,000 people following your account or 50,000 people your account, you're taking the time to share knowledge. You're having conversations with people that are really moving the needle that a lot of people don't even understand. Thank you, Turbo Dad, for the badge. If things are weighing on you, find a way to generate some peace and happiness and find a way to find the good in all of this chaos. Try not to worry so much about it. Focus on operating and maintaining your operation. And that's it. We can't let this get us. That's how they win. That's how the game is lost. So control up here and you'll control the external. And if you got some value here, share it. Watch it again. Thank you, Patty MCG17 for the badge. Appreciate you. Thank you so much. I've said it a bunch of times. Thank you, SDKen77 for the badge on Instagram. Appreciate you. We underestimate our power. We underestimate the capacity that we have to change the world for the better. We underestimate the strength and distance that our own voices can travel. We let the weight of the world's problems weigh heavy on us, and it distracts us from our true purpose. It distracts us from how much progress we could make. Thank you, April Brust, for the badge. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. It's not as bad as we think. That's what they want us to think. There's a lot of good people that are fighting. You're a good person that's fighting. You're taking your precious time to even think about this. And I think that it is signs like that that make me feel very reassured that the progress we're making is valuable. And I think that the future is prosperous. I think that we've got I think that there's a lot of good times ahead, more than we think. And I think that it's all going to be good. It's like human beings have gotten through so much, from famine, enslavement, persecution. I mean, sickness, natural disaster, political extermination. Destruction, terrorism. that it's like, to think that in this particular round, this is when it all goes to the wayside. It's like, I don't know. I bet there was a pretty reasonable case to think that way during the Cuban Missile Crisis, during World War One, during World War II, during the Cold War, during 9/11. I mean, think about how many things have like shaken us up. It's like, to think that it's like, this is it. I don't know. I just don't buy it. I think this is a lesson, much like lessons in life happen to us. When you have a bad breakup, whether it be a relationship, a death, the loss of a job, it's oftentimes very difficult to see the potential outcome and how it could ever be as good as it was. Yet miraculously, the vast majority of the time, it ends up better. Why? I heard this really cool quote a couple weeks ago where it said, failure, I don't want to butcher the quote, but it was like, failure is the ability to restart more intelligently. That's the quote. Failure is an opportunity to restart more intelligently. The happenings of the world, the relationships that fall apart, the troubles that come our way are opportunities to restart more intelligently. When you go through a bad situation in life, it's an opportunity, as bad as it may be. And even though life is finite and it may be hard to see what that thing is as it relates to a debilitating disease, a loss, a death, it's not that it's always just good in and of itself. It's just that it's an opportunity to restart more intelligently. You may have another life. You may not have another life. You may find in your next life, you may find in the existence that happens once you leave whatever it is that this is right now, you may find that it all makes sense then. You may find that on the other end of this adversity is an opportunity to restart more intelligently. And because of things like that, you have nothing to lose. That's the lesson of the day. I don't know. This is my interpretation of the world. This is my understanding of reality. This is what I had to say today. Thank you for being here. I very much appreciate it. If you're new here, please click the link in my bio on Instagram or follow me at bobbysauce.com. In the footer, all the links. YouTube, Facebook, TikTok at Take Naps, 2 S's. Instagram at Take Naps. Facebook, Bobby Sausalito. YouTube, Bobby Sausalito. Follow me on all of those places. bobbysauce.com is the site if you want to support. Patreon.com/Take Naps. If you would like to support, I appreciate it. If you like what you saw here, please consider sharing it. Share the reels, share the video to your story, tell other people about it, tag them in the comments. Please consider sharing it if you like it. But most importantly of it all, talk to other people, try to maintain your own sanity, and understand that it's all going to be all right. It's just a ride. Bill Hicks, it's just a ride. So with that being said, life is good. God bless America. I hope everybody has a good night, and I hope that this gave you some value. I appreciate you guys for being here. Thank you so much for your time, and I will be back with more tomorrow. Thank you for all the love. Thanks for all the messages. Also, another reminder, I've been getting so many DMs lately that my previous my previous thought when I was first getting started on this account is like, I responded to every message that I could. It's getting to a point now where my Instagram DM has too many messages. It's taking me days and days and days to even see messages, and it's so much to respond to all of them. A lot of people are still left in my inbox, in my not accepted messages inbox. It's like way too much. So, with that being said, if you sent me a message, please realize a couple things. Number one, I appreciate it. I appreciate the support. Thank you so much. If you have a message, post in the comments. Comment the message instead of DMing it to me. Comment to me and comment it and have a conversation with other people. Those comments are much easier for me to see than the DMs. If you're going to send me a video, don't send me a video without telling me why you're sending it. If you're going to write me a message, don't write me a 500-word message. Try to make a precise point in a very short, digestible unit. I want to see what you have to say, but it's not personal. Try to make it short and to the point. If you have a request for merch, email me woke, WOKE at bobbysauce.com, or you can email me through the message board on the website. If you want to communicate with me and guarantee that I will respond to your message, join the Patreon. It's $5 a month. $5, patreon.com/takenaps. I will respond to all the messages in there. If not, post in the comments, share the videos, tell other people about it. I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you for your attention. Thank you for your love. Thank you for the support. Thanks to everybody that bought the badges. Thanks to Steven for the generous Venmo donation. Thank you for your time. And let's keep it going. The world is good. Life is good. Much love. I appreciate you guys. I hope you have a wonderful night, and I'll see you tomorrow. Thank you, everybody. Facebook, YouTube. Appreciate you. Thank you so much. I'll talk to you soon. Thanks for being here. Fight the good fight. Spread the truth. Much love. See you tomorrow.